Hello and welcome back to the We Are City channel, and just a bit of a news update on the future of Eric Garcia at Manchester City. Eric Garcia, our young Spanish centre-back who came through the youth team. You'd say he came from La Masia, the Barcelona youth system. He joined Manchester City when his contract ran out, I think he's maybe 15 years old, 16 years old when he joined Manchester City, and there was always high hopes for him. Pep Guardiola specifically picked him out to join Manchester City, and he thought he had a future at the club. And before all this news started to come out about Eric Garcia's contract, Garcia was starting to get first team appearances. He just before the break, the lockdown in the Premier League last season, when he came back, Garcia was playing a lot of games for Manchester City. He actually made 13 appearances last season for the club. And at that point, City had the idea that Eric Garcia was going to be the second choice right-sided centre-back behind the player that they brought in, which happened to be Ruben Diaz. It was originally idea to be Koulibaly or Koundé, and then Eric Garcia would play as second choice, that right-sider, and Nathan Ake would come in to play second choice to the left-sider, Aymeric Laporte. And John Stones was seen as the player out of the picture completely. John Stones was set to leave Manchester City, and everything changed towards the end of that season. There was lots of rumours from the Barcelona press, from the Catalonian press, reporting that Eric Garcia wanted to leave Manchester City. He wanted to return to Barcelona, a club that he once saw no future at, and no one believed it. And everyone had started to really get on the back of the Eric Garcia hype train, so to say. Everyone thought, you know what, Eric Garcia is a top player. He's doing really well. He's not the tallest, he's not the quickest, but he reads the game well, and he's good on the ball, and that suits our style of play. However, things started to change, didn't it, for Eric Garcia? It was announced from Pep Guardiola after all that news that started to come out gradually from the Barcelona press that Garcia was out of contract at the end of the season and he wanted to leave the club. And I don't understand why, because I thought that actually, he was getting first team football like he wanted. He wouldn't get that at Barcelona anyway. He'd be playing behind Gerard Piqué. But I suppose the signing of Ruben Diaz and John Stones' little sort of comeback now means you can see why that Eric Garcia wants to leave. But I think he wants to leave anyway. He wants to return back to his home club, doesn't he, of Barcelona. And the thing is with Eric Garcia is that you started, once he decided he wanted to leave, and once people heard that news, people turned on him. A bit unfairly, really. He's only 20 years old. He wants to return to his home club. A bit like Brahim Diaz when he left Real Madrid. He wanted to go to the club that he would know, his boyhood club. It was like, for example, if Phil Foden played for Real Madrid and he said to Real Madrid, I want to leave because I want to play to my club, Manchester City. I want to go back home. It's understandable, isn't it, really? Now, Eric Garcia, once people turned on him, they started to see that he does have deficiencies in his game for the Premier League. I think he'll suit La Liga a lot more. He's not the quickest. He gets spun quite a lot. He's not the tallest, so big physical centre forwards he struggles against. And despite him reading the game well, he does have a mistake in him, but he is only 20 years old. You have to understand that, he's got a future, and maybe he is the next Gerard Piqué for Barcelona. Anyway, it came to the summer. Barcelona very interested in signing Eric Garcia. They wanted him on the cheap since he only had 1 year left on his contract, and City wanted around 25 million euros for Eric Garcia, similar to the price they had paid for Ferran Torres, another player that they thought was at the same stage as reported in their development. Eric Garcia and Ferran Torres in the same stage of their development, and we managed to pick up Ferran Torres for 25 million. Now, Ferran Torres is an attacking player. They tend to cost more than defensive players. I think Barcelona wouldn't go over 15 million euros plus 5 million, but in bonuses, in certain things like how many appearances he made if he won the La Liga, things like that. In the end, Eric Garcia on deadline day didn't move to Barcelona, but he still wants to move. He refusing to sign a new contract at Manchester City. He's desperate to join Barcelona and reportedly play with Lionel Messi. Well, that might change, mightn't it, for Eric Garcia if he does join this January. But Mundo Deportivo have come out and said that Eric Garcia will be joining Barcelona this January. Fabrizio Romano has come out a bit later than that and said that Garcia will join Barcelona. He has an agreement. He will join in this January if the club can agree with fee with Manchester City. Now, remembering that Barcelona are currently €1 billion in debt, or just about under €1 billion in debt. So they're not going to have the money to pay a big fee like €25 million for Eric Garcia. And it's reported that City and Barcelona have agreed for a fee of around €5 million, which to me seems very odd. City knew his contract was up at the end of the season. You could say that there was maybe questions over John Stones' future and fitness, and that's why they kept Garcia. They thought he'd be more useful at the club than letting him leave for less than what they wanted for him. But if you're going to let him leave for €5 million now, why didn't they just pick up the 15 or €20 million from Barcelona in summer? And this is coming from City's football director, isn't it? Cheeky Beristan, who's decided that it'd be better to sell Eric Garcia in January for €5 million than sell him in summer for €20 million. And he has made some appearances for City. I think he's made about 3 or 4 appearances, hasn't he, this season. I think, as you can see here, he's made 3 appearances in the Champions League and 3 appearances in the Premier League, as I'm looking at my stats here in front of me. So he's played 6 appearances, 6 times for the club, and he's just not got a future at the club, has he? And a lot of people have turned him. He recently turned 20. Fans are starting to see he isn't as good as they thought he was. I'm sure that he'll do well at Barcelona, but it looks like Eric Garcia will be moving in January or summer, definitely in summer, if not in the January. He has no future at the club, and that's why a lot of the fans are saying that we don't want to see Eric Garcia playing for the club anymore, do we? Because he's a player that doesn't want to play for the club. Pep Guardiola has historically said that if a player doesn't want to be at Manchester City, he would sell them. So that's going to end today's episode of a little transfer update, and it's on Eric Garcia. If you didn't see the news before we came out live here, and before you saw our video uploaded, which will be then on YouTube for you to watch, and doesn't necessarily have to be as a live, it's just easiest for me to record it as a live to tell you the news, then head over to our Twitter at WeAreCityMCFC to get all the news on our Twitter as it comes out, supported in 5 different languages as well, if you're a worldwide fan from anywhere other than England or America or anywhere that is English speaking. And please do usual, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.